Hello everybody, it is Sunday evening and this video will mainly be voiceovered, like 99%. So the last video I stopped and told you that this one would be about sublimation, mug sublimation, and I've already shown you those two panels you see there with the Nessie and the Mousjes, which have a mask on it. So here I took out my Artesprix inks, which are for sublimation. And I have also those sponges for the ink blending in a folder, the same way I store my other ink sponges, but in a different, I have those together with all my sublimation stuffs. And I did put different masks on it. So first I wanted to make stars. I wanted to have white stars on colored background. So I cut out little stars with a little die cut, like those little, it's not through the machine, but those little cubes one has with which cut out things. It might not be the most interesting point, but I have a lot of time here to fill. And those don't stick well because my posted sticky note paper is a bit older. So I put those down first and then I put the other mask over those stars because I don't want my colored images. Now already you see there one star came off the background. I have to be very careful. And I put all the masks down because I don't want my colored images to get painted now. And I don't, another one flew away. I want white stars on this background. I could have glued them on afterwards. I could have ink blended it over my critter masks. I'm going on a lot about that because that stuff breaks my brain. I find that very hard to get because, yeah, with the masking and things and so on. That's why it gets repeated a bit in this video. Maybe you're like me and it takes you a bit longer to get that. I've seen others who make one layer cards with stamping the first image in front and then masking that, stamping behind, masking that and stamping. And in the end, it's amazing what they do. But already this one is fascinating me how it will turn out. Yeah, so I could have glued those stars on later on once I ink blended it. But then I would have to pay attention with my critters. Because like this, I could put the mask over it so I don't get color on that. And the stars are behind that mask, so they are not in the way. But if I glue them on, I would have to cut them off where they would overlap the critter. I hope you get that. So that star that fell off, I will glue that back on just white paper and double layers of it because one layer sometimes is not enough and the ink gets through that. But this is how I fix my lost star there. Now here comes the moment of truth. I will take off all those masks. And there I showed the little Stanzerli, which makes the die cuts. We call it eine Stanze. Yeah, so I'm taking off all the masks. Here you see the critter mask, which kept the color nicely and crisp of the critter. And with having that on and the stars on too, you see how the stars go behind the cup, go behind the other images. I find that very, very fascinating. I don't know how you feel about that, but and if I would glue them on, that would not work. So this one, for example, that would have, interfered with that acorn there. So I'm taking off all the stars and then I glue on the other one, the missing star there in the top corner, in the middle. And here I think about if I could also cut it out. You could have them cut out. Because then if there's nothing there, you cannot transfer that ink onto the cup. But the star would be the wrong way around. The two knobs would be on top. And I wanted the one knob on top. One corner there. I glue them together, two of them together. And then glue them on. You need to pay attention that you don't get too much glue on it. Because where the glue spills onto the paper, that would not be pretty. Here, another close-up. In case one didn't see that on the other camera. So I wanted the starry background, but like the stars white. Otherwise I could have used a stencil, but then I would have had the stars colored. So on to the next one. Here I wanted to ink blend water, which is a bit different than the other background. And I just took a scrap paper. I just hold it with my hand. And I take blue and just go all over with my ink blending tool. And then to have it a bit different to the background, which will be blue clouds, I'm gonna go over it with green a bit. And that is all that happens here. Another backup footage. So, and then I'm gonna wait a bit till they're dry, and then I'm gonna press them on mugs. So I use Cricut mugs because those are especially for sublimation. There are other mugs for sublimation, but they need to be special for that. I guess they have some kind of surface that really takes up the ink, so it doesn't work with just any mug. And as I have the Cricut Mug Press, I am buying the Cricut mugs because they fit nicely. They are for that. And I just eyeball it into the middle, hope I have the same distance to the handle. This is heat resistant tape, and I did pull it tight. So I try to have it as tight as possible on the mug, but it's gonna press it anyway, but it's good to have it really tight. This is a normal baking sheet. I take it double. You use it so in case there's an ink spillage, you don't wreck your machine, because it could get through the paper, the sublimation ink, and if it goes into your machine, it doesn't break it, but it might smudge it, and then you might transfer smudges onto your next projects. So this is to keep the machine clean, the mug press. And I just eyeball it here so I can fit it through the handle. And it's always a bit fiddly. It doesn't go so well. And again, I tape it down with a heat-resistant tape. And as usual, I would want to have 3 hands. That would be a bit easier with stuff like that, or 4 maybe. And then I cut off the rest. It's gonna be a bit burnt, the paper in the end, but I think it's good when you cut it off. So here I'm getting my mug press out that is up there. It is not that heavy. Which is cool, so you don't fear to get it out and put it away again. And then I have to plug in the cord. This is now very slow. Everything else was on double speed. And you still see the mess in my kitchen. And then I push the button and I switch it on. It will be red there. You couldn't see it without my hand giving shadow. And then it will beep. And then I can put in the press. It took a few minutes to heat up, 5 minutes at least. I did other stuffs, but had an ear out for the kitchen. Here again, you see the minty stuff isn't all around the cups. I need to see that my handle is in the middle and that the pressy part covers all of the mug. And here I tried to record the beep, but I always pushed it on and off my camera, and it beeped once. I ran into the kitchen. It beeped another time and another time. And what you heard now was the third time or fourth, when it really started screaming at me, boo, 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 boo. But before it just made one beep. And that it takes about 10 minutes. There's lights on the top and they progress. It's reveal time. I let that cool down for quite a bit. They get very, very hot. This is the one with the mouse and the Oofy. Okay, now here we go. And which one started to fall off? That's fine. Okay, it's still warm. Ta-da! You even see it. And this is, if you're right-handed, you would see that one. And if you're left-handed, you would see that one. Okay, other one. The Nessie. It looks like my other one. This was the one I had already. A bit darker. And yeah. And this is what's left over. It got darker through the baking. And one could even use it again, I think. There's still enough color in there. And this is the other one. And I always keep them so I can look up how I did it. And that is helpful. So, and those are the other ones I did. I did color the bees after all with yellow and black. Ah, there we go. Okay, so you see a little yellow and black. Also colored the flower with purple and pinks. And this one. So I think this turned out nice. It's not much on it. But I mean, it's a lovely mug with the glitter and everything. The only thing that was annoying is that this tape does not hold on the glitter stuff at all. So I had to attach it to the other side of the paper. And the other one, there's not much on it. I mean, I like this side. And again, glittery. So it's here, it's jumping around, and then it's getting tired and laying down. Yeah, there's not much on it. And now I don't have any more glittery ones. I just gave it. Now I start the process from scratch for 2 other mugs. First I place my stamps, pick them up, and I need a stamping tool for that. Isn't it called a stamping tool? Because I need to stamp it at least twice. I think I did twice here. And then before I forget, I usually forget that I need masks for later on to mask everything off. So I started putting a normal paper, add the post-it on it, and then I can cut it nicely on that paper. And because I use my scalpel thingy, my fine tip blade, I don't know what is it called. Yeah, not the scissors, and that is very handy to have it on another piece of paper. And it's sometimes a bit hard to aim where the post-it goes, so I have this to look at and see where it goes. And I usually use the leftover ink of the stamp. This is why I push so hard and it's barely visible. Then starts the very, very slow process. This is just a little bit in real time of cutting it out, fussy cutting with this blade. This is a very good knife because even me with my bad hands, I can use this knife better than a normal, is it a scalpel? I don't know the name for it right now. X-Acto knife, that exactly, it's an X-Acto knife. And yeah, I go very slow. And this is also sometimes double the post-it, and sometimes there's even a sticker on top of it, which I don't find that bad, because if I cut too far, there's still 2 other layers which hold it together. But also I need to cut it more than once sometimes. And then I fiddle it around, fiddle it out. And yeah, it's very important to just take the time. And I find it easy to go clockwise. Yeah, I think it's clockwise. Okay, I just thought it might be nice to see how that looks when it all comes out, because that's the most satisfying part about this, to get it out. And also those little whiskers and stuff, I do cut those off because I have it on the stamped image. It's black, and even when I ink blend over it, I think that black still stays there. I just cut off, I mask everything that's colored, but fine details that are stamped in black and are too fine to cut out, I just cut those off the mask. So, and here that was, I don't know, half an hour or something took me. And the others are also very, very intricate to cut out. So, and this is now the whole coloring process, because I thought this is the most interesting part. I have 9 different ink pads. I have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, pink, purple, brown, and black. And I have to mix and match my colors. And for that, I put them on my acrylic blocks, and I use them pure, like the yellow at the beginning. And sometimes I add another color, and then I start mixing them on the stamping block. It's like I don't have gray or white, I cannot do. Also, white, I cannot really do white, but I can make it lighter when I use more water with the color. And then I just start with a color, or here I have brown, and then I use it for another critter. And then I add another color to it, and I see what I want to do with that. And yeah, I just leave the rest with a little music. And here we go again with the backgrounds. It's always a bit nerve-wracking because I don't want to wreck it all because of all the coloring. That took 25 minutes, I think. So I will just mask off the upper part. I want to make kind of a carpet. Unfortunately, I don't have a stencil that is that long. I would have liked to use a stencil, but I'm actually still using stencils, but it's not going to be so pretty. So it's going to be a yellow carpet. My whole panel will be on a mug with a yellow inside. So I thought yellow might be nice. And I'm, again, careful around those masks because they are not that sticky. Like here, I lost the foot. It just bent over, and another foot, I think, I fixed that somehow. I lost that before. And the foot all the way on the left is just kind of stuck on. a piece I cut out. So I decided to make dots because I didn't have another one. I don't remember what I wanted. I wanted something nice, but I thought dots might be cool. So those are orange dots, and they're all a bit smudgy. And then I have to shift my stencil, and then I think it happens all the way on the left that I accidentally go over one bubble too many. Oh, this is a great voiceover. So it's not so pretty, but it won't be the focal point of the whole card. And then I can take off that mask, and I will use the snowflakes from the new Lawn Fun release cat stamps and use them as confetti on top. It's like confetti rain. And I just stamped them in one color first. I started with blue, then I filled it up with green, and then I think I added yellow and orange and just spread it out in between. And it's always cool to lift the mask off and see how it looks, because it's still different when it's not colored over and things. And ta-da! The guinea pig parade. They're so adorable. They're from Colorado Craft Company, all those stamps. And they are designed by Anita Shiram. And here, this is the second card, and I thought I might want to make a wooden floor, but I have one brown, and I don't know how I would mix my colors when I use this this ink blending stump. So I'm going with one brown. I just try to be not so precise, as just have it a bit streaky and stuff. And then I used this wooden stamp. I didn't even take it off the foil. Just left it on it, inked it up, put it over, make it look rustic. I just didn't want to bother too much. So I added my stamp there, and now I have a wooden floor. And on top, what did I do there? I used another stamp, which is a snowflake stamp from this Penguin Lawn Fawn stamp set. And I just stamped that in blue. Well, I just listened to my voiceover, and I thought I sound a bit very relaxed. It is 1 a.m. here, and I'm just hanging here at the table and doing the voiceover. I hope it's not annoying. So here I also filled in some snowflakes, because there are some singular stamps one can use. And here again comes the reveal of the mask coming off. And this mask, I really cannot use it again. That was so bad. It all fell apart. And here it is. And now the mugs. And I'm very happy about this one. It's really cute with that yellow on the inside of that mug and those on the outside. It's really, really a fun mug, and I do hope somebody buys it at the market. My older sister was also here today, and this one was her favorite mug too. Yeah, and the other one turned out fine too. This is kind of more Christmassy. I would have liked to have more background, but again, it's a bit hard. I would have very cool things which are already printed and stuff, but I don't get that behind those pictures. So I don't know how to do that. Yeah, what else was it? I forgot it. There was something else. Gray. I make gray with blue and black. Und jetzt möchten Silly und ich uns ganz herzlich fürs Zuschauen bedanken und bis zum nächsten Mal. And now we want to say thank you very much, Silly and I, and see you in the next one.